Everybody has the ambition or thought process of living a 1% life, but the far majority have no interest in putting in the work ethic of the 1% that is required for that life. Let me tell you what success looks like. When you wake up in the morning and you're happy. I hate things like nice guys finish last. Where? It's just not true. Nice guys might be losing at halftime, but they win the game. Nice guys always win. It's just so crazy, all this fodder in the system that isn't true. All the faking it till you make it as a fashion brand that's elite, or at what every single 23-year-old male in the world is doing, which is fronting on Instagram because boys want girls, you know? And so like, I'm just unbelievably passionate in trying to, what I realized about myself was, oh, the reason I won and I'm good is I've never played in the vortex. I've never played in the actual rules of life. I was an F student when every immigrant was supposed to be an A student because education was the way out. I launched an e-commerce wine business in 1996, right? Like that wasn't what we were, I have a f***ing sneaker. Thanks for wearing them. Like I've always done things that don't make sense. I play outside of the actual game, and that has been where all my happiness has come from. And so many things have become obvious to me by playing outside of the rules. Playing outside of the rules is the best. And that's where I want people to understand we are pandering to so many things that just aren't true. The number one thing you need to do is deploy self-awareness about yourself and how you want to communicate and what you want to communicate. Trying to be successful is super fascinating. Everybody has the ambition or thought process of living a 1% life, but the far majority have no interest in putting in the work ethic of the 1% that is required for that life. And that's fine. You know, another thing that's a complete contradiction is how many people I know that are far happier when their business, the amount of people, and I've really looked at a lot of businesses at this point, you know, hundreds of thousands probably over the last 20 years because of my investing career. There's so many people that have a business that makes them $200,000 a year, they want to grow, and then when it goes to $280,000, they went from extremely happy to miserable on that small of a delta. You know, please, in a success world, please understand that success is happiness, not net dollars in. I literally replied to, I have a ridiculously funny post on Instagram right now, right? Like my last post about me garage sailing, and a lot of the comments were like, literally things like, I don't get it. Why is somebody who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars going out there and buying things for $1 and selling it for 15 bucks? And I literally am in there, like on the road here, like replying to some of you when I'm gonna be on stage and replying in Instagram to kids that are asking me that. I'm replying, happiness. I, Gary, as a human, get dramatically happier when I go to a garage sale and buy something worth 20 bucks for $1 and get the high of discovering it and knowing that I'm gonna pay $1 and sell it for 20 than I do when I land a $7 million deal for VaynerMedia. And by the way, there's no comparison. That's just who I am. The number one thing practical that you can get out of this talk, go home and start doing, is realize that if you're not communicating to the world, then you're in trouble. Because attention is the asset. And whether you're producing content or you're running advertising, if you're not doing one of those two things, you're actually really vulnerable. My biggest concern is there's a lot of people here who are actually having a good year. How many people here are having their best year in their business? Raise your hands. That's phenomenal. Excites the out of me. It also scares me to no end, because if you're winning without the stuff that I believe in, it means that you're vulnerable. The reason you're seeing videos of me pop up talking about Toys R Us or Sears or other thing in trouble, and now it makes me look really smart, is because 7 or 8 years ago, they weren't doing the things that I knew they had to do to be successful today. That became their vulnerability. If you're selling a ton of homes, or you're getting more clients than ever, or you're, whatever it is, whatever success you're having, if you're doing that without producing a high volume of content every day on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, you know, YouTube, or a podcast, you're immediately right this second vulnerable. Because somebody else is going to, and over time they will take your audience. They will. And so I highly recommend that the tangible thing that you do from this talk is that you realize that you have to go home and figure out how you're gonna communicate to the world. Happiness is so important. I'm so obsessed with it right now, and I hate that success and entrepreneurship and all this stuff have been put on a pedestal. Do you understand that most people think they need to make $1 million a year to be like winning? Meanwhile, in America, one of the richest countries in the world, $440,000 is the entry into the 1%. We have success completely misunderstood. We have success completely misunderstood. Let me tell you what success looks like. When you wake up in the morning and you're happy. I talk about hustle, here's why. If I looked at all of us right now and everybody behind these cameras or reading this article and said, get smarter, more talented. I want you to get more talented. That's very tricky. That's unbelievably ideological advice. If I said, look, 2 extra hours of work actually has an impact on your success if that's what you're trying to achieve, that's practical.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but it's controllable. Yeah. Work ethic is controllable. Being born with talent is not.
You do make a difference. There is something they would lose if you were not there. There was something that they would miss if you were not there. You do make a difference.